Welcome to another edition of Tough Talking Thursday. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In this edition of Tough Talking Thursday, we will be looking at a very important subject matter, and that is the government, the opposition, or other option in the governance of Liberia. We all pray for Liberia to be this glorious land of liberty. So where do we turn from answers? Is it the government? That is the ruling CDC-led government? Do we go to the opposition, or is there a third option that can help us deliver us? We will be looking at the political landscape, the economic landscape, and when it comes to the security, what is the effect of the Liberian nation? We have all this in store for you. With me to discuss on this Tough Talking Thursday, I have the following. Joining us from the city of Monrovia, Dr. Jeremiah Wapo. He's the political leader of Vision for Transformation, for Liberia's Transformational Vote. Dr. Wapo, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Dr. Wapo is right there with us in Monrovia.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Also joining us is our chief political analyst who's joining us from the city of Philadelphia, Mr. Wilmont Cooney.
Can you hear me? The line is a little bit bad from my end. I don't know what's happening to everybody.
We're good now. Mr. Cooney, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Dennis. Happy to be here.
The last show, they were calling you CDC Pape. I don't know where that name comes from. We want to welcome for the first time on Tough Talking Thursday, joining us from Canada, Mr. George Tully. George, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Dennis. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. This is Tough Talking Thursday. This is where we call it as it is. At the beginning of the program, we play a clip where T. Michael said, "I don't need your Tabata." So here, Tabata in the southeastern world, from southeastern Liberia, means foolishness. You know, we cannot really translate our local languages, but the closest we can come with Tabata is foolishness, nonsense. Sometimes they say foolishness. So on Tough Talking Thursday, there are some Tabata going on, and we want to call it as it is. Again, Dr. Wapo, Mr. Cooney, and George, welcome to Focus on Liberia. This is Tough Talking Thursday. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe, and it's time for us to talk tough. How ready are you, George?
Yeah, this is something that I'll tell you something. This is within my backyard. This is something that I live for, talking about Liberia and holding the legs and the feet of our leaders to the fire. I love it because if we do not hold people accountable for the things that they do that have led or that is leading to our people now experiencing life as they should be, as is their God-given rights, then we are not doing our jobs. So we have to hold them accountable. So this is one medium of holding people accountable, calling them out as we see it.
Thank you. Dr. Wapo, our topic today, the ruling party, opposition, or other options. Are you ready to talk tough? Dr. Wapo, we're having some connection issues there from Monrovia. Is your data being harmonized?
Oh, sincerely, my data is being harmonized, and that's why you're seeing that there's a breaking transmission frequently coming from my end. So I don't know whether this show will be okay with me with the breaking transmission. But as you can see, the CDC Pape knows that we have been harmonized in Liberia here.
Mr. Cooney, it's Tough Talking Thursday. The ruling party, the opposition, or we look somewhere else? How ready are you to talk tough?
Well, look, I'm ready to talk tough by examining all of the variables. I think it is my examination of the variables that sometimes make people to believe that I tend to the CDC. But the fact of the matter is that there are a lot of people that are responsible for the situation in our country. And some people want to take the problems of our country as being the problem of one person, which is, of course, is against my own concept of decentralized authority in Liberia. What I'm fighting for really does not allow me to accept that the conditions in our country are the result of an imperial presidency. I want to break the imperial presidency down. So I sometimes look at all the levels of government, not just the president, as it is easily done by some people because, it's very easy to take a shot at the president. But we seldom look at all of the branches of our government that are responsible to make Liberia better. So that was my tough talking with you today. And it doesn't matter what name they put on me. I'm happy with that. And whatever name the public, want to put on me, it's within their right to do so.
Thank you. Yeah, we have some background noise here. I'm not sure where it's coming from, but we'll do our best so as to let's see. Let me see if I can isolate the problem. So let's begin like this, and I will start with you, Dr. Wapo. We want to look at the current affairs of this nation, Liberia, how things look like. So we say the current state of affairs of Liberia, and we're going to start by looking at it politically, economically, and then security-wise. So let's be brief. We're going to take at least one at a time. So politically, what's the current state of affairs? And we go around the room. Dr. Wapo, let me begin with you.
I don't think he's getting you.
Dr. Wapo is saying that you are muted. Go ahead, Dr. Wapo.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
I'm having a little bit difficult in transmission. I'm not too sure whether you guys are hearing me.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Okay,
Go
but
ahead.
if all your question was how is the political situation in Liberia? The political situation in Liberia is very much dangling, as you, as you can see. There's a ongoing riot in Maryland County for the ritualistic killing of some young man, a motorcyclist that was killed over there, that has led to the arsenal's attack on the Speaker of the House property and subsequent arsenal attack on the central prison. So that's one of the instances that numerous instances that you see in Liberia right now. So we have a very unstable political situation in Liberia right now. Security wise, you cannot discuss politics in the absence of security. As you know, the president said that every Liberian should buy a CC. Every Liberian should buy a CC camera and put it into his or her home to provide security for him or herself. So with that, we still see that today, as we speak, people are disappearing. Their bodies are being found astronomically in Liberia in various places. And that's the kind of country we find ourselves in. So Liberia now is a country that you on your own. If you cannot provide security, anything happens to you, nobody's going to investigate it and bring the culprit to justice. So as it is, how is it? You get Liberia as it is. Do not expect anything better from Liberia right now. And in the pre-show discussion that we were having, I heard Mr. Connie saying that why it is true that Liberia is in a devastation right now, just to be professional and paraphrase what he said. Yeah, why it is true that Liberia is in devastation right now. We cannot blame this government in totality. Yes, of course, but this government has its own responsibility when it comes to the security of the Liberian people to perform their share of the responsibility. What are they doing about it? Because the previous leader did not handle Liberia security well, did not handle Liberia economy well. So that means it should be transposed to this government. No, the government has its own responsibility to dispense to the Liberian people. What is it doing in the wake of the economy, in the wake of the security, in the wake of you name it, all the strings of government? What is the government doing that you can boast or you say, okay, these people did it this way, or this government is playing its share of the responsibility? I don't see it yet.
Mr. Kune, What is the current affairs of Liberia politically, economically, and security-wise, in your view?
For me, I'm not in the opposition. I'm not running for office. So sometimes my view about Liberia seems a little bit hopeful than most people in the opposition who goal is to maybe seize immediate political power. But I can tell you, Dennis, by all objective analysis, the fundamentals of our political system in Liberia is getting stronger and stronger by the day. I mean, Liberians are freely electing their own representatives. The December 8th senatorial election is evidence that our democracy, our political process is strong. The fact that the election commission came out today and said that all of the propositions that were taken to the people were rejected through a fair vote. All these things are evidence of our democracy taking hold. That's not to suggest that there are no problems, but to look at our people exercising their political right in Liberia and say that the political process in the country is in danger is like somebody looking at January 6th in the United States here and saying that the entire American political system has been subverted. We have to give credit to our people where credit is due. Security is a challenge, and I agree. I've agreed so many times that we need to do much on security to improve the safety, the well-being of our people. There's a challenge. The 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 ritualistic murder in the alleged ritualistic murder in Maryland is not a political act. That's a criminal act. And these things need to be investigated by law enforcement. We need to demand more of law enforcement to 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 be proactive in protecting the lives of our people, and when crime occur, to be very forthcoming in investigating those crimes and making sure that the perpetrators are brought to justice. But we have to, despite the challenges, I see Liberia as a hopeful country. Uh,
Economically, if you want to add before you conclude.
Economically, I mean, Liberia, like almost any other country, is struggling. Liberia is struggling economically right now. But you see, the government is doing whatever they can do to resolve the problem. Look at the bill, the concurrence by the Senate to try to bring up a new currency to help alleviate the suffering our people going through. Our people are using very, very, very dirty, trash, spoiled money around the country. And you find some people playing politics with the whole idea of printing a new generation of banknotes to alleviate the liquidity problem and to alleviate the kind of embarrassing, shameful currency that is going around, making all kinds of demands. But mind you, these are demands that within their power that they should have made even before we reach to the printing of currency. They have
Thank
the
you.
power for investigation. They have the power for oversight. They needed to exercise those oversight. Now try to gain political point on the eve of passing a bill that will bring financial stability to the already troubled financial markets in Liberia.
Thank you,
And
Mr. Kone.
I applaud the senators that concur with the House of Representatives in passing that bill.
Thank you. Mr. Tule, the current state of affairs of our nation,
Yeah, I will
politically,
start.
economically, and security-wise.
Yeah, sorry. I will start from the current situation in terms of the economy. Uh, no, printing money when you have economic issues is one of the worst things any government can ever do, and it's a common practice across Africa, and that's why our countries remain in poverty, penury. Bad economic policies lead to stagnation of economic growth. When you have issues that are relating to economic growth, running because you have the fiduciary responsibility and statutory authority to print notes is not the way. It's just a short-term gap measure to fill in the gap short term, but it's never going to alleviate the problem long term. You alleviate and you repair broken economies by instituting proper economic policies. um, Quickly, Liberia, we do not have a sound economic management team in place. Our country is dependent upon few major taxpayers and the port of Liberia and Robertsfield and maybe Ganta and one or two and what the other place name Waterside. Those are our major sources of revenue. We need to look long term, devise a plan that will make us economically viable as a country.
Right.
Now, politically,
Okay, go ahead.
politically, the reason why we're having these economic problems that you are using these band-aid methods to resolve problems that should be well thought out is because we do not have the right economic managers in place. The political manager that we have, Mr. President George Weah, is unfit for his office. As a result, he has no plan, no political ideology, no economic philosophy, and as a result, he has no vision for the country. He's just ruling one day at a time, Lord Jesus, and that's it.
Security-wise, what's the current state in your
The
assessment?
current state is bad. It has been bad, but now it's even worse. If you read, if you went and read the current the just released United States State Department's report on Liberia, it will tell you from the we've seen the deaths, the unexplained deaths that have not been resolved. We've seen the fact that armed robbery is on the increase. People have been harassed in their homes and nothing is being done. It's like Liberia, like Dr. Wapo said, is everyone for himself. And President Weah said it. He said you should put CCTV in your house. I don't know what CCTV will do when armed robbers come. It will only record the action, but the CCTV can stop people from doing bad.
Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you just joining us, this is Tough Talking Thursday, and we just got started. Dr. Wapo, can we get you clearly now as the connection issue if this continue? So let me bring to light
Okay.
some issues here I want you to respond to, which describe the current state of affairs of our nation. Let's look at corruption. Let's look at illiteracy, political will or the lack of political will to do certain things,
Well,
and, and,
corruption
al-
in like
and also the lack
corruption
of
in Liberia is a renewed.
Dr.
Go
Wapo,
ahead.
right, and also the lack of
Yeah.
what I call opposition cohesion to fight these things. So let's go one more round and talk about the political, economic, and other landscape in Liberia and give our fair assessment. Then we come to why these things are happening. So go ahead, Dr. Wapo. Dr. Wapo, can you hear me?
Well, I don't know whether you guys are getting me clearly. I'm getting a really, really poor feedback from my end because of
Yeah. Dr. Wapo,
I'm hearing your voice. Is there's a break in the communication? I don't know.
okay, Dr. Wapo, if it is not working out, we can
Now
try
it's
next.
terrible, man.
Yeah, if it is not working out, we can try next time, Dr. Wapo.
Yeah, can you hear me now? If you can hear me, then it will be okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it's delayed, But go ahead. I don't know if you got my question.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say, yeah, I got a question about the corruption. But corruption in Liberia is a renewable phenomenon where people are yet to be nationalistic. People are yet to be servant to the people. Liberia political environment has evolved to be a market ground for corruption, where people come and reap what they didn't work for and go with impunity. So when we're talking about corruption, we have to also look at the justice system and the executive branch, because it is the executive branch that's supposed to prosecute and implement the rule of law in Liberia. And once the executive branch say all of us that in Liberia we are interrelated, divorcing that the justice system should not be blind anymore. It's a serious problem that we should look at. So for this reason, corruption in Liberia it has had multiple stages where people do it and go with impunity. I don't know whether you guys are here. I really want to take part in this discussion tonight, but my line is really, really bad.
All right. So Josh, we'll let you go, and then we'll make next Thursday we can get you back if that is okay.
No problem.
All right. We're sorry
Yes, no problem.
to let, because you are from the ground, so we want to really hear from you, but it is why it is. Your data is harmonized and the connection is bad. So
Yes,
please
sincerely, I would love to, but the line is terrible.
yeah. So we'll love to have you back next Thursday. All right, gentlemen, it's all North American affairs now. As I was saying, we talk about the political landscape. Mr. Cooney, my question to you, and you can make your contribution on still on the political economic landscape. You didn't really tell me how the economy is looking. You were just saying printing money is the solution of easing the liquidity issue, and also, but it really doesn't tell me anything about the numbers. How are people feeling in your view? Are people working? Is the market going up? Inflation, all these economic issues. Then when it comes to the politics of it, or the security, you say yes, it's a challenge. The politics of it, what do you see? Is everything okay? Where you see where are the trouble areas that you can pinpoint?
Dennis, I mean, again, several times I came on this show that I've always used one standard that will tell me that things are improving in Liberia. My personal standard is when my family start looking up to me, or when the frequency of the 10 DJ Western Union, when it reduces, then I know that things are improving in Liberia. I've held that standard for a very long time. That standard has not changed. Our people are catching hell. Our people are catching a lot of difficulties. There are a lot of problems that our people are going through economically. Jobs are not available. Thousands of students graduating from the University of Liberia do not have jobs. It is demoralizing to spend 4, 5, 6 years at a university and you can't find a job. You need to either find yourself in the market selling. All of these conditions are going on. I do not dispute these things. My only thing that I dispute is that those that are in a political process, besides criticizing the conditions of our people, they are providing no alternative.
Mr. Cooney, that's not a question.
But
Just make a fair assessment of the political landscape, economic wise, and also security. Forget about the solutions. We'll come to that.
Yeah, but you asked me economically, I say our people catching hard time. I don't know what other assessment you want me to make. The people are catching hard time. There's no job. I tell you the difficulties that college graduates face even when they graduate from college. So I don't know how fair you want the assessment to be. And sometimes I got the feeling that the only way an assessment is objective and fair on this show is when you mention George Weah by name. And that diminishes the discussion. Because as I indicated to you, there are many things that are happening to our country. There are people located in powerful places in our country, in addition to the presidency, that are responsible for the condition that our people find ourselves in. To continuously play this to the president, let's change the president mantra. I've always resisted that, Dennis. I told you I've lived so long where many people came to us so many times and said the president was the problem. As a result of that propaganda, we changed over 4 presidents, and the condition of Liberia still remains. So sometimes I try to discuss the issue of Liberia in as much as the presidency is important, to try to discuss in a holistic fashion. This is why I premise my decision like that. And sometimes people say it is government. This is why sometimes people call me sedition. No, I'm telling you, our people are catching hard time.
Thank you.
Those who are in the political process, in addition to, besides criticism, they're not telling us what are the solutions that they bring in that will inspire the new generation of Liberians to make the kind of changes that would be necessary for their lives. Or they're telling us we must change president. That is not enough for me.
Thank you. And we'll come to the solution. Mr. Tule, from what you say, it's like everything is just bad. Where are some of the bright spots?
I don't see any bright spots over the last 3 years. I don't see any bright spots, to be honest. If you talk to the people in the banking sector, my sister is a bank manager. If you talk to the people in the banking sector, I have a bank there. I've had a business there for years now, and I'm just about to go into another field in terms of business investment. I'll tell you something. The reality in Liberia is this: for a long time, we just been masking the problem and saying we're offering solutions. From the governmental standpoint, I so much disagree with my big brother, Mr. Kone. There's a reason why I say I disagree. He tries to downplay the strength of the presidency in Liberia. And I don't think that is fair. Liberia, the president is an emperor, plain and simple. His word is the law. Plain and simple. Economically, politically, security wise, whatever the president says in Liberia happens. That is the reason why it is very important to ensure that you put a person who is reform minded, a person who is an ideologue, someone who is a patriot, a real patriot, and who knows how things work, who will not rely on proxies and cronies to do things for him or her. Now, when it comes to the economy, like I said, for long we have developed, we have relied on foreign direct investment. It's a phenomenon that started under the Tottenham regime. Okay, there was a time that they said that our economy had grown so much that our GDP was even higher than that of Japan, based on our people and what the amount of money we had from capital steel investment to the one that happened in bombing hills to Lamco to bomb mines. But our people did not benefit from these investments. The trickle down effect, there were bottlenecks along the way. That is the reason why, as small as our country is, we have depleted a lot of the iron ore mines, and our roads are still not paved because our leaders do not know how things work. Our leaders are myopic. Our leaders are so sectarian, and as a result, they do not look past their immediate environments. Okay, it's like this: if I'm from Grand Coulee County or from Lofa County, my main focus should be on the people from Lofa County. The best jobs go to Lofa. Like right now in the George Weah government, it's all people from the southeast. Not bad, yes, but let it be based on merit. Let it be based on experience. I was asking a question just now. Who will look at himself and have a company that is worth $500 million, okay, and employ Samuel Tue to run that company? Who in the right man? What are the matrices you're going to establish to use to judge his performances of the past? Before Samuel Tue became the finance minister, what was the volume of a budget that he managed?
So George, before I let you learn, are you implying that Samuel Tue got the job because he's from the southeast?
No, I'm implying that he got the job because he's a crony of the president.
Yeah, you made mention of
yeah, and then being from that side to only solidify the choice. But it's not based on merit. I'll give you a common example. The former finance minister of Nigeria is presently the head of the WTO. Okay? And it's not based, she wasn't placed at the head because she's a woman. It's based on her qualifications. How much money has she managed? That woman managed billions and billions of dollars managing the Nigerian economy. So before somebody look at you and say, okay, this guy is worthy of managing my money, they got to look at your track record. So when you look at the economy, we do not have an economic plan in place. That's the problem. Let me say this. Ivory Coast, until recently, have always been an agronomy. Their major exports have been agricultural products. and they have run their country, have made them wealthy. We go there, we enjoy ourselves. Why can't we do the same? And their products are not just cash crops, but they also export food crops. They export bananas to France and Europe. They export pineapple and they export pawpaw to France and Europe on a regular basis. You go to the airport in Abidjan, you see these heavy lifters, these are cargo planes taking agriculture products every night into Europe. Okay, because their primary market is Europe.
Okay.
Unlike so because of proximity, okay, the flights are short of 6 hours, the flight is there. The reason why I'm saying this, Dennis, is we have so much that we can do, but it goes like this. That's why I fold my hand when Big Brother Conan was talking. It flows down from the top. If we have a leader who knows how things work, who knows what to do, who knows what to accomplish, who has a plan, he will.
And that will be our second. That will be our second point. Let me let Mr. Cooney respond to you, and then we go to what needs to happen.
Yeah,
Mr. Cooney.
listen, and I mean, I disagree with my brother, and it's just a philosophical disagreement. For him, the solution for the problems in our country lies in the hand of a president. I disagree. The power belongs to the people. We've used this excuse of the president being the one to solve our problem to the point where we've either murdered or chased away so many presidents, and nothing changed in Liberia. Nothing, absolutely nothing changed in Liberia. We got rid of Tobo because we thought Tobo was the problem. Nothing changed in Liberia. We got rid of Doe. We thought Doe was the problem. Nothing changed in Liberia. We chased Taylor away. You see, this president only blame that come from other people and from the opposition is just a desire to just change power and occupy the presidency. I'm telling you, we Liberians, we need to, first of all, the leadership is a reflection of the people. Corrupt people elect corrupt leaders. We have to work on our character. We have to improve our integrity. Then we talk about the institutions. The institution will not lead themselves. The institution will not work themselves. It is individuals of character that will make those institutions to work. And I'm telling you, Dennis, these are the areas that nobody in the political sphere is looking for solution. The only solution that is on the radar is move the president. I guarantee you, if we don't change our character, if we don't develop integrity, if we don't put into place institutions, and we just change president, no matter how educated, my brother is using the word educated, forgetting to know that Liberia have had some of the best educated people on the continent. Still, the country is like that. Today, we are talking about electricity in Monrovia, despite the fact that we've had so many educated presidents. Today, we are talking about pipe-borne water in Monrovia, and I'm even talking about Matera or Kabada, because Auntie will even reach there just now. Still, we've had all these educated people. There is something that is wrong, and we have to find that solution. We don't have people of integrity. We don't have politicians of integrity.
Dennis,
we don't have people
let me just come in.
We keep focusing on education and personality. Look, the flaw of that argument is that if you move the personalities, then the system all of a sudden will start to work. That's not true. We've done that before.
And we're coming to the solution.
This is what I'm saying.
Hold on, Josh. You have 30 minutes because I want us to move quickly to what needs to happen.
So my thing is, we do have challenges in our country, but there are still good things that are happening in our country. We have our political system functioning, and we need to work in our political system to bring about the change that we need. It is just too wrong to say there is nothing good happening in Liberia. We just elected our senator and said nothing good happening in Liberia. What planet you live on?
Thank you.
Okay.
Josh, you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Let me say this to you. Looking at history, across West Africa, no nation have developed without a strong leader across West Africa. The Burkina Faso experience that they had with Thomas Sankara. Ghana is what they are today. When Jerry Williams took over in Ghana, Ghana was as bad as Liberia. There was rampant corruption. There was the breakdown in law and order. The military junta ruled with impunity. When Jerry Rawlings took over, he had a vision. He was a patriot, and he believed that Ghana would be great. And you know what he did? He ensured that he taught his people how to be patriotic. He ensured that he taught his people. I was there in 1990. I lived in Ghana.
All right.
Yeah, okay. So my point to you is this: I have seen the importance of leadership. When Lee Kuan Yew took over in Singapore, Singapore was a fishing village, but a man with vision, a man with a dream, he turned that nation into one of the biggest economic powerhouses in the world today. Leadership is very important. Leadership is not all today, we agree, but without a leader, our people are going nowhere.
Thank you. And that leads on to our next, with the problems we have described, with the landscape we've surveyed, and we looked at the current state of affairs. What needs to happen? George, you go first. How do we change this?
The thing about it is this. I will say this. The Bible there's a saying in the Bible, there's a quote in the Bible that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? One of the fundamental issues with Liberia is that our foundation is foul. Our foundation is faulty. Okay, the establishment of Liberia as we know it hasn't worked. As an experiment, it hasn't worked. So if we want to be sincere with ourselves, we need to break everything down. Our educational system is not what it's supposed to be. It cannot produce students, or it cannot produce graduates or professionals that are up to task, that can work in other anywhere you put them. They can give proof of their education. Our educational system, we have placed emphasis on credentials rather than ensuring that our people imbibe knowledge. So that is one of the fundamental flaws. Our healthcare delivery system is broken, security wise, broken. Everything is suspect. Everything is in need, is lying in disrepair. And the only reason why is because we have always insisted, not only at the presidential level, but we have always insisted on electing bad people. I always say this: if you elect miscreants, if you elect criminals, if you elect people who have no nationalistic leanings, you will have the same result, because people deserve the leaders that they elect. In Liberia, if we want to find a solution, we have to start by making sure that we elect people of character. We elect people who are very, very, very scrupulous. We elect people who believe in accountability. Until we can do that, our country will remain the way it is. So at the end of the day, we are going to 2023. It's a landmark time. The country people show that the misconception that people had that CDC owned Montserrado was broken with the re-election of Senator Darius Dillon. It also was a writing on the wall to the CDC-led government. But the people who are waiting in line as opposition, are they up to the task? Are they ready to bring about the material improvement, or the improvement of the material well-being of the Liberian people? Do they have the understanding? What is their ideology of leadership? What is their view? What do they really want to accomplish? It's not just trying to aspire to become a leader, but what do you want to see change in the lives of the people? So, to a certain extent, Mr. Kone is right. It's not just the presidency, but if it starts from the presidency, it comes to the national legislature. The national legislature they're just collecting money. They're not performing their fiduciary duties of oversight and making sure that the country is ran according to the constitutional provisions. Nothing of that sort. So if we want to see change in that country, it's a holistic change. Like he said, from the home, we need to start teaching patriotism from the home. We need to start teaching patriotism in the marketplace. We need to start teaching everywhere, because until we can change everything about Liberia, we're not going anywhere. So even those who we say we want to elect in 2023, they have to come to power with the mind to improve the material well-being of the common man.
Mr. Kune, what needs to happen?
Well, at least we still got, we moving to some consensus on in the discussion. But I just, before I tell you what needs to happen, I just wanted to piggyback on what the brother said. Look, all of the examples he gave are strong leaders. Those are all, fair examples. But guess what? What all of those examples have in common? They all have either a military or dictatorial or government in common. So I don't know whether there are people in Liberia that are calling for the return to military rule, or they are calling for a return to dictatorship so that we can develop. I don't know that. That's another debate. And the other notion I want to dispel is that many times you talk about the issue of Liberia, some Liberians quickly refer to Ghana, especially to Raleigh. And what we don't realize is that even before the Raleigh intervention in Ghana, the level of development in Ghana was by far way ahead of Liberia. Even before the war, Ghana was already supplying. Ghana had solved their energy issue. Ghana had enough electricity, supplying other countries. Ghana has solved most of their educational issue. Ghana has solved most of their road infrastructure issue before Raleigh. So
man.
what was lacking, my brother? I drove from Abidjan to Lomé 1994. That was paved road. Raleigh didn't build it. That was paved road. But the point I'm trying to make, Ghana has already resolved some of their basic infrastructural issues. We're talking about a country like Liberia since 1847 that has been in perpetual deficit of everything that he just named. Whether that school we're talking about, we're in deficit. Whether that road, we're in deficit. Whether that energy, we're in deficit. So the solution for me, we have a big challenge, national challenge. We need leaders that will inspire our people. We need leaders that will educate our people. We need leaders that will build consciousness in the minds of our people. We need leaders that will lead by integrity. These are the kind of things that will change the behavior in our country. This can be done. Let me tell you, before 1980, there were a group of Liberians that came to a group of Liberians that emerged on the national scene that educated Liberians on their basic condition, that educated Liberians on the need for multi-party democracy. They even had adult literacy schools to create literacy for Liberians. Yes, even though the road to multi-party democracy was sometimes catastrophic, but at least we have it. What this generation has failed to do is to bring quality to the process. They are making electoral decisions against their own interests. And this is where the opposition don't want to threat. They want to tell us that the only thing that is wrong is a president who is sitting down there. And we all should wait until this most qualified person comes who has all the visions to replace that president, so that our welfare can be better, even though all of the structures that underneath that presidency, they are as rotten as anything that anyone can imagine. Right. My solution is we have to educate our people. We have to build consciousness our people. We have to lead by integrity, by example, so that our people can make the change. It's not just the change of president. 2023 is all about changing president.
Yeah,
that's why
he has to go.
Change president again, and those basic conditions will remain. And
thank you.
We'll be talking about another president who will replace the 2023 president.
And I want to agree with the two of you about the foundation making those kind of changes, but we don't have that luxury of time to start from the beginning.
And that's the problem.
In the short term, let's look at three examples here that I want us to look at. We have the CDC-led government. In the short term, will reshuffle help? Do we need to elect a new government or new legislature, or do we have other options that you want to put on the table? Reshuffle, elect a new government because the current government is bad and needs to go, or do we have other options?
Well, look, on the issue of reshuffle, that one is entirely within the purview of the president.
I mean, I want to put this in your purview. Is what we talk about what needs to change, right? What needs to happen? Will reshuffle solve the problem? We're electing a new government, or do you have other options you want to share?
The reshuffle is ongoing. There has been a lot of reshuffle in this government. It's ongoing, except that maybe the reshuffle has not affected certain people want to be affected, but there are, there's reshuffle going ongoing in the government. I want to propose another solution. Look, I had this discussion with one of my friends. Liberia is not the only country that has political problems, that has corruption problems. There are other countries that have similar situations. But guess what? Their citizens are contributing to their country through the economy. In Liberia, anytime we talk politics. We never talk about the economy. What can we do as Liberians to invest in our own economy? What can we do? When you pose that question, they kick it right back to the same political system. Oh, we got all that corrupt political system. It can't allow us to do business. But the pushback is, if that system does not allow you to do, how the Lebanese and the Indians are prospering in our country. How are they prospering? How are the Nigerians? How are the Ghanaians? How are they prospering in our country? But you, Liberian, who are born in Liberia, you say you cannot prosper because there is some structural issue that you face. So we have not actually looked at the economy, where we can effect change for our people, where we can leverage power. Anytime we talk is politics, politics, politics. I'm happy that one of the diaspora organizations is in Liberia to really change course, to see whether there is some area of the economy where the diaspora can mobilize for investment, that can create jobs, that can create opportunities for other Liberians. And through that, change the lives of other people. If we continue to make the argument that the government is bad, but the government is the largest employer in the economy, so everybody works for the government, and there is nothing done to even invest in the private sector and take away some of these people that rely on government or create another workforce that is not government dependent, how are we going to change the system?
Thank you.
Nigeria is not even a corrupt country. Nigeria corrupt, but you got Nigerian businessmen. The very Ghana is corrupt, but they are Ghanaian businessmen. Sierra Leone is corrupt, but they are Sierra Leone businessmen. It is only Liberia that is corrupt, and none of its citizens want to engage in business. All we talk is politics, the president, the president, the president. We can't do nothing for our people. We just talk politics.
Mr. Tule, reshuffle, elect a new government and legislature or other option?
Elect
and
a
I'll
new
give you
government.
a chance to respond to Mr. Kuni as well.
Yeah, let me start off there. There's something fundamentally flawed in what he just posited just now. The first thing that is flawed is the fact that Liberians do not want to invest in their own economy. It's not true. A lot of Liberians have invested in their country, in that country. My wife and I have very good business. I have friends who have had good business. But the truth is, there are a lot of things that are fundamentally flawed with that country. The first thing, I will make a statement. I know it's controversial, but it's the truth. Fulani trader once told me, we were working out one time when I was in Liberia. This is in 2014. We're talking about the same. I was analyzing what I've seen in the marketplace and how they have, corralled the market. And he said something to me. He said, for us to relinquish our hold on the Liberian economy, we are prepared to die for it. I'll be honest with you. For us to relinquish our hold on the Liberian economy, we are prepared to die for it. Now, you will say, oh, why am I calling this name? Because we, like I said, we are fundamentally a flawed nation. In Ghana, I saw something in Ghana. Yeah. Then as I saw that they instituted their economic guidelines, the Chinese, the Lebanese, the Indians were forced to remain wholesalers. They didn't kick them out of the economy because they knew their people did not have that bridge. You understanding me, to go and get major stuff from major producers, right? But they forced them to only be importers. They forced them to be importers. So the Ghanaian merchant did not have to look at his hard cash to buy stuff and put in his store. All he needed to do was to make his store a showroom. So his investment, the actual hardware that he had in the store were very limited. So all he did was when the customer came to the Ghanaian merchant and he saw what he wanted, like for instance, you were building a house and you wanted some hardware, right?
Right.
And you walked into the store. All you did, you saw what you wanted. You guys made an invoice. Once you agreed to the price and everything, the man took the invoice and went out into the nearby market to the wholesalers and procure all your things, deliver the goods to you, and make the money on top of it. So he can even own a very small store. It doesn't have to be a very large store. You just have to display one of the items that he's dealing in. They force those who have unfair economic advantage to remain importers. So they have to deal with the Ghanaian merchants on the street. They have to. They are the link between those who come to buy stuff and they who bring their big containers into the country. Where
Right.
am I going with this?
Yeah.
It's wisdom. That's how things work. You have to think because the typical Ghanaian merchant will now have the millions of dollars to open a big warehouse to be importing things from Brazil, China, Turkey, and other places,
Right.
India. So they force the Indian man who bring his goods to only keep it in the warehouse and deal with the Ghanaian traders on the street. The Ghanaian traders on the street deal with the customers that are building the buildings. So no matter how much the inventory you want, you deal with your customer, your supplier. He takes your order. He goes and procure. He might not even have the money, but maybe he has the established relationship with different importers. So he goes there, take the goods, come and make the delivery, collect the money, take his share, and carry the rest of the money to the importer. And his business goes on. The reason why I'm saying this, Dennis, until we have people who know how things work, because in Monrovia, for instance, sorry if I'm taking time, Mr. Kuni, just listen to this. In Monrovia, you're talking about opening a store. When they are building, when those who have funds, how many Liberians have the funds to lease land for 50 years to build stores? Those who do, our banks are prepared to deal with the Fulani, with the Indian, with the Lebanese, but not with the Liberian.
Right. So these are all
Even if the
important bets.
Liberian has a proven track record. Yes.
Yeah.
So when that store is being built, it's already partitioned and given out to them. And let me tell you something, Mr. Coney. If you, my Liberian brother, walk to the person who's building that building to go and rent one store, they will call a prohibitive price to you that you can't pay. Or that even if you pay, your business will not be viable.
Right. So let's come to let's make your point on that so you can come to the
Yeah,
question.
okay, yeah. So my point is this. Our people are at a serious economic disadvantage anywhere you turn. Because if the Liberian man walk to the Lebanese man, I tried to rent a store from Lebanese man. The money they called, I could not make that money every year and remain in the blue. So, but when the fellow Lebanese go to rent the store, they will give it to him at an affordable rate. So everywhere you turn, the Liberian man and Liberians are still striving. When it's serious. When you go into all the Leeward counties, you see Liberians building their businesses, but there's something wrong. We have never had a leader that have come up to say, "My people, I know how things work, and we need to change this. We need to institute the Liberian Empowerment Plan. The way it was written, we need to revise it and make sure that we institute it, that will put Liberian businesses at a comparative advantage to that of the foreign businesses. And that also, it comes from the banks, it comes from the Ministry of Commerce, it comes from the Liberian Business Registry, it comes from the Investment Commission, that Liberians supposed to be first.
Right.
That is a mindset that is lacking.
Mr. Kuni, you want to respond to that before? Because Mr. Tule, you have not answered the question as to what we can do in the short term.
I agree with the brother. Most of the things he said. And again, this is what I'm saying. This goes to our character. This goes to our integrity. This goes to who we are. I'm telling you, you find Liberians, for example, that justify that some of the reasons why They don't want to give dual citizenship to we natural born Liberians, or they don't want to give citizenship to other people. Is the fact that the people will buy up all their land. But guess what? The very Liberians, the front for some of the business people my brother talked about, as owners, the front for them, even in areas where there is clear government regulations that they cannot do that business. The businesses are placed in the nominal names of Liberians that they associated with. So this is the character issue that we're talking about. Yeah. And these things, we have to change ourselves. You can change the president. That behavior will remain. Because that behavior being seen there. Yeah. It's not just a behavior of today.
Yeah.
I've seen a behavior where Liberians front for foreign businesses, making themselves even owners of those businesses when all they collect is just some kind of very little.
Yeah, but to their defense, that because of the system that has been created, if people have to just survive, they do all kinds of things, right?
So who changed the system? You think a president will change the system?
Yes.
I'm submitting to you. I'm submitting to you that the Liberian people themselves will have to bring about the change that they want. Because if we
how we do that?
Eh?
How the Liberians can do that?
By first of all, by electing people that respond to our wishes and aspirations.
Yeah, but it starts from the presidency, Mr. Coney.
But listen.
So now let's come to this question now. So George, you didn't answer the question yet.
Okay, let me answer the question.
So do we reshuffle the current government? Do we let a new one, or do we go to other options?
What we need to do, this is what we need to do. We need to establish a social contract between all our elected leaders and us.
Who's the we that need to do that?
The Liberian people.
And how?
I've always proposed that we need to come to a table of brotherhood as Liberians and determine what we want as a people. We have never done that before.
But George, that's inferior, right? How I'm living in Dodowekan, you are in. How do we come together around this?
When you call a national sovereign conference
who calls that?
The current leadership. It must be called. Yes, it must be called. We must come to a table of brotherhood. Mr. Kone and all the other stakeholders will come and they will establish their point. It doesn't have to do with you as a president.
But what you are saying is you say we have to come, but then you passing it on to the president.
Oh no, because for me, the reason why I move my knee from there because the people they don't like some of us, so we don't want to be in the picture.
Yeah,
Mr. Kone and I, we want to disagree on a few things, and one of the things that we disagree on, which is very, very, very dramatic. Our disagreement is categorical, and that disagreement is I believe it comes from the head. And he said, no, the head doesn't bear the full responsibility because the system is rotting. And I'm saying, yes, I agree the system is rotting, but if you have a reformer, if you like Kagame, when Kagame took over in Rwanda, it was not a thriving country, but he instituted policies and he sold it to the people. Communication, he sold us. So I believe the head needs to go. But if we are going to elect a new leader, we must have a contract with that leader. The reason why we cannot hold George Weah to anything because George Weah did not establish any political ideology. He did not come with any philosophical ideology and say, this is what I believe in as a leader. And if you like me, hold me to this. George Weah did not say that to any of us. Our people still decided they're going to elect him. That is my problem. My problem is when the man did not say, this is what I espouse. These are the principles by which I live. This is what I want to do for my country, Liberia. You're electing me. No. So we have never said that to us.
Let me be clear on this one.
Dennis,
you don't want us to reshuffle. You don't want us to elect a new government.
I want us to elect a new government. The new government, but I'm saying the new government we are going to elect, we can't just elect people and they come with no sense of accountability.
Okay.
We got to tell you, say, look, we're giving you this gavel. But these are the things we need.
Dennis.
Yeah, Kuni, go ahead.
I mean, the one fact that is clear here is that the process of changing our conditions, like you alluded to earlier, is long. It's a long process. And sometimes good permanent change comes as a result of a very long process. Sometimes the things that are easy to do are temporary. So there is a call, I think, on this generation of leaders for them to really go to basic. The other day we talked about civic education. What does your vote mean as a Liberian? What does it mean? You know, is the vote a vote you're supposed to give to your brother, your church member, your tribal member? Is that the meaning of your vote? What does it mean to elect somebody? Do we look at the track record of that person over time? How has that person lived among his
Us.
peers? How has that person lived in a community? Are we building that level of consciousness among our people? And I'm submitting to you, we're not doing it because the process is long. It takes time. So the way we look at the political system is that we want it now. All of these things that will create a qualitative society for us are difficult. They have long-term consequences. I sometimes make it this way. Liberian men do not want to plant the apple tree when they know they're not going to eat the apple.
Mr. Kuni, I want to differ. Why when you guys making examples, we don't plant apples in Liberia. Why you can talk about butter pear?
Okay, orange. I'm sorry, orange.
Okay, thank you.
I don't want to plant the orange tree because you will not eat the orange. I'm just saying to you, our nation has come so far, and we are backward. Nobody saying Liberia is moving forward or we are backward. We are backward because of the system of governance we have. We have an imperial presidency in Liberia. We have it. We have a centralized.
Thank God you agree to this.
We have, listen up, stop celebrating. We have a centralized political elite. I've said it here over and over. A centralized Monrovia-based political elite. They sit in Monrovia and they prey on the rest of the country. We cannot even decentralize authority. We cannot decentralize governance. None of the people, either in government or those who want to change government, are talking about these key issues. The only thing we're being bombarded with is how corrupt the president is, and the president must leave. And that's why I keep saying, if we don't tackle these issues, if we don't tackle the issue of the relationship between our regions and the central government, if we don't tackle the issue of decentralization, if we don't tackle the issue of civic education, that we explain to a Liberian what their vote means, if we don't tackle all of these issues, if civil responsibility, if we don't do all of these things, and we get change president, guess what? We're going back in the same hole.
All right, let me throw some things out there because I don't. Oh, okay, George, go ahead. You have 1 minute.
Yeah, and the reality is this: as much as you said some things that are right, but you still go back into to backing. When you see football teams, sports teams fire their manager, sometimes like I saw the last time the guy won 6 games in a row, but if he was fired, people say, "Oh, why was he fired?" A lot of things are taken into consideration. They look and see how viable the tenancy, how viable will his administration be continuously be? How viable is he as a long-term prospect? The truth is, like I said, fundamentally, George Weah is a flawed person and he's a flawed leader. Fundamentally, Mr. Kunu, fundamentally, he has no fiscal discipline. Personally, he has no respect for money. He can spend money any kind of way. For a country that is poor, we need a leader that will believe in austerity measures that will tighten the purse. Just like Magufuli did in Tanzania today when he died, he was being praised. Some people call him a dictator, but on the whole, Magufuli instituted policies that took Tanzania one step forward. I am saying to you that George Weah, even in 3 years, have not really taken the time to study and understand the perspectives, the responsibilities of a leader in a country like ours. The first thing the man doesn't, Mr. Coney, the man doesn't read. The man is not informed. The man has a low IQ. Football, he had a talent for football, but he doesn't know how the world really works. He got street smarts to a certain extent. I'll grant you that. But to understand how systems and structures are put in place and how they function, no. I'll give you a common example. Nobody who has a vision, job, before Mr. Kone comes in. Yeah, one more second. Nobody who wants to really do something for his people will keep Samuel Twe as Minister of Finance. Nobody.
No, Dennis.
No, hold on, Mr. Kone. Hold on, Mr. Kone.
No, just 30 seconds. 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Okay.
Look, my brother, I respectfully disagree with you with your characterization of the president. To many Liberians, he's nothing like what you described. And that is not the source of our issue. As long as we make these national discussions on the basis of personality, we're not going to get anywhere because the issues are structural.
Thank you.
Are fundamental. Okay. They're not
personality issues. Thank you, Mr. Kone. But you cannot discount that the president, the one who is the leader of the company, I mean, because of this structural issue, you're saying they shouldn't really have.
We're not discounting. Look, let me go by a football analogy.
Yeah.
You say you fire the manager. But if that team has a history of players who don't practice.
No, but Mr. Kone, that's why companies like Google, they always look for someone, the best manager to manage this thing. So but I don't want you to play down the importance of this leadership
I don't know how
thing.
You guys argue. I'm not saying Liberia should not have a good manager. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying
is President Weah that good manager? Or it doesn't matter? Is President Weah a good manager?
President Weah is doing the best that he can do for Liberia, just like any other previous president.
No.
Is President Weah a good manager or being a good manager? Doesn't matter.
President Weah is bringing. Look,
hold on.
President Weah is bringing electricity to Monrovia, which previous president did not do. Ellen Johnson said he did not do that.
Mr. Kone, I was asking a straightforward question. Is President Weah that manager, or that scale doesn't matter when it comes to the presidency?
He's a manager in the best way he can be.
All right. Let me throw out a few things out there.
Now you expose yourself.
Let me join you in your criticism of the president. You don't need a partner.
I'm looking for partnership, but one thing you would say, Dennis, I know you and I will be out a lot of time. One thing you'll get from me, I'm not backing anybody. I call it as it is.
So to whom did I expose myself?
You just expose yourself as a backer of the president, because you cannot even admit that the man is a bad leader. He's a bad manager.
No,
you can't even admit that.
He's not a bad leader.
Okay. Dennis, go ahead.
Let's look at other options, things that people have been throwing out there, right? So let's look at them briefly as we see what needs to happen. Some say, well, we need to build institutions and civil society because, civil society, that's what would drive it. Let's look at definition. Some call civil society the aggregate of non-governmental institutions and institutions that manifest interest and the will of the citizen. Some define civil society, individuals and organizations in the society which are independent of government. And others look at civil society as that third sector of society distinct from government businesses, including the family and the private sphere. So one area people throw out there is, okay, let's build institution and civil society. That's going to help. And that's not all. I mean, what I've heard doing this thing and talking to people, I have heard many things. Another thing that I've heard is diaspora engagement and investment. Say, well, let's forget this whole president government. Let's engage diaspora Liberians. They can invest and turn things around in the country. And others are saying, well, Liberia is a failed state. Let's turn to the West. Let's give it to America, the EU, the UN, or let's call on them so they can deliver us from all evil. I know some of these options, you have heard them. Mr. Kone, have you?
Oh, but I just throw in the fact that there is a big diaspora delegation that is in Liberia right now as we speak, trying to find a way where the diaspora can engage the country beyond remittances. I spoke to that earlier. And those are some of the areas that we need to look. Uh, I spoke about, somebody talk about civil societies. This is where civic education come in. This is where conscientization come in. These are all the areas we need to empower our people. Instead of looking at the top down bottom approach, these are the instruments that will give us the bottom to top approach. And everywhere, every political organization, I shouldn't say everywhere, but for most organizations, the change that lasts is the change that is built from the bottom up, not the one that can top down. Because usually top down is dictatorial, it infringes on other people's rights, it infringes on other people's happiness. We need to build this common people base that would change our country. And again, I don't see this as a fight for presidency. All of the people that are positioning for 2023, they just want to change where we are. That's all they want. Once Georgia is out,
but what's wrong with changing him? Is he that good that he cannot be changed?
Because even Georgia,
don't answer it.
Georgia and not changing the system, you will create another president that 2 years into his presidency.
Mr. Cooney, we have a caller on the line, but here is the thing. Who is going to, you said changing George Weah without changing the system, right? System doesn't change on its own, right? It takes leadership. For instance, the president.
No,
I think that's why we're having a disconnect.
All right. I know you gotta call up, but can I say something? Because Mr. Cooney, let me talk someone now.
No, to a point. Multi-party democracy came to Liberia not because the Liberian president wanted it. Multi-party.
But you see again,
multi-party democracy came to.
All right, I got your point. Let's Tule come in.
Wait, Mr. Cooney, you see, then you defeating your own argument because that multi-party agitation caused the death of William Tubber, one of the attributing factors to his demise.
Yeah, but he didn't bring it. You are saying it is only the president will bring the change.
Oh no, understand something. And guess what? And that change, what good was it? What good did it do?
It is that change that making Yaka Koluba to be representative. It is that change that making anybody anywhere can be representative. So despite this catastrophic impact, that change is good because overall.
Okay, Mr. Kuna, let me say something here.
That change was not brought up by the president; it was brought up by the people.
Yeah, but guess what? The people, you saw how long it took. The change has never really been established. No, we still having problems. Hold on now, Mr. Cooney. When you talk, I give you a chance. The issue of multi-party democracy does not take away from what we are looking at right now. What we are looking at right now is leadership. And there are a lot of precedents around. Ivory Coast would not have developed the way it developed if they did not have Fele Houphouët-Boigny. No way. He had a dream, he had a vision, he wanted his country to look good. He wanted the white people to have a place away from their home.
But Josh, who put this leader there? It's the people. That's
no. But in Houphouët's case, the French were looking for a soft landing because they saw what happened.
In the case of Liberia, it would take the people to elect.
Agreed. So I don't want to discount his bottom top argument in totality. But the truth is this. When you know how long it would take you and I to work from the bottom top to change Liberia, it would take us forever. But guess what? Let me say something. If we have the right leader who wants to change Liberia, who wants to make sure that accountability comes to the full, who wants to make sure that the judiciary, that the issue of arbitrary arrest and detention is done away with.
And how do we get this leader?
Yeah, one way we can have this leader is, like I said, we have to speak, we have to tell our people, we have to establish a social contract between whoever is going to be elected in the Liberian people.
So you're coming to Cooney's point.
No, not my point. I made that point earlier. I said we must have a social contract.
Yeah, and how we can do the people, because Cooney says not the president, is the people.
No, but guess what? The issue here is this. The fact is the president, if we have the right leader, the reason why our country, look, Monrovia is littered with trash. Okay? The incidence of waterborne diseases, everything. Honor Madam Salif, They were collecting the trash to a large extent. Mayor Brown made sure the city was clean. Since Jefferson Koji came to power, the street is being overtaken by garbage dumps.
Yeah.
And it's like nobody wants to do anything. It has to do with leadership.
You guys got my color to drop off.
So Dennis,
So let's go to our next issue.
No, but he can call again. Let him call again. God, I know he listening to the show. He shouldn't be offended.
No, Mr. Cooney, we gotta move ahead.
Summary.
No, so with all
move ahead.
With all the things that we have stated, where do we look for answers? Where do we look? Is it a CDC-led government? Is it the opposition, or somewhere else?
All right, yeah. Let me go this time around because he always goes. I don't think the CDC even understand what they are doing.
So the CDC government out. What's about opposition?
The opposition, yes, but with a condition.
Okay.
A condition that anybody coming to take over in 2023 have to understand some basic things, have to put forward a platform. Because the first thing, like I said, I remember having this long-running argument with Isaac Tukpa prior to the election. When they brought about the CDC platform, I told him, I said, that thing that you and Toyowa Harris created that thing. And I remember also telling Isaac Tukpa, I said, you think George Weah will use your brain to think? George Weah is not going to use your brain. It's like I was being telepathic because right after I said it, when George Weah became president, what he did, he excluded him. Excluded the Isaac Tukpa man. Where am I going with this? If you, like I said, George Weah did not tell us anything. He is not an ideologue. He didn't have a vision for Liberia. He didn't come to Liberian people and say, look, I want to make sure I provide water. I want to provide electricity. I want to build your roads. I want to do anything.
You made this point already. Where do we
the reason why I'm going back because you're asking me again. So CDC is out of the place. This is what we need to do.
Okay.
We need to ask our political leaders from the opposition who we cannot go anywhere else and take. It has to come from an opposition member. I'm not just saying the CPP now. It can be any opposition person. You have to have vision. The first thing you have to have vision. Because even the Bible says without vision, the people perish. You have to have a vision. What you want to do for our country, you have to be able to tell us. You have to have from point A to point B. Because right now, if we were investing in agriculture, the little resources that we have as a nation, if the president was saying, let's see how we can invest in agriculture, because through agriculture, we can transform our country. Through agriculture, we can build an economy. All right, not just in cash crop. We're talking about food crop production, taking advantage of the growth and African Growth and Opportunistic Act. Okay, we can find enterprise funding for agriculture. We can invest money in agriculture.
Thank you.
So until we get to that place that we can say our leader must have a plan of action.
Yeah,
we must see it before we vote for you. When you vote, then you come out and say, this. Because by that time now you're already in the seat.
But the leaders we get, they form the party, they declare their candidates before they even form the party. Mr. Cooney, where do we look for answers?
Well, to be honest with you, if you
I got three options: CDC-led government, opposition, or other option.
Well, I think the people will stick with the CDC. I mean, basically that would be the choice of the Liberian people, but I think the people will stick with the CDC.
I'm not asking you to predict. I say, where do we look for answers? I don't want you to predict the people's action.
I think we should still look to the CDC government for answers on these issues. They are doing the best that they can do under the circumstances. They are building roads. They are providing electricity to the country. They are working on agriculture. I saw the president with the Minister of Agriculture around the country, showcasing agriculture projects throughout the country. But in addition to the CDC, I think we need to empower civil society. We need to go to this basic of civic education, because for me, I recognize the president is not the only power broker in the country, or should not be the only power broker in the country. I believe there are other power centers in our country, and Liberian people need to make very careful decisions in selecting people to these power centers. We need to review our entire political governance structure, the relationship between the central government and the regions, so that we can empower the regions to do some level of self-government. so that we can tear down this imperial political class that is based in Monrovia. I think that's where we need to go. These things are not coming from the opposition. All that is coming from the opposition, elect change president for the change of presidency. And then if you even look at the fact that those who in the opposition were those that provided very bad leadership 12 years ago, is even scary for the country.
Thank you. Let's go to our comments. And I don't know if we have any caller. Okay, we have a caller on the line. Caller, your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, good evening. And I don't know what to say. Good evening. It's good evening from my end in London. And I want to say good evening, good afternoon, good morning across the globe, people following the program. My name is Isaac Jackson.
Mr. Jackson, welcome to Focus on Liberia. What's your take?
Thank you, Mr. Ja. I'm very humbled to be on the show, and I want to, I want to greet my colleagues in studio. I call to speak to maybe two issues very quickly. The first issue is to agree in part with George, and I know there is a need for us to de-individualize the conversation. And I think Brother Conan trying to push that argument that there is a need to de-individualize the conversation. And you may want to agree with him, because also advance our country, we need to, in a way, de-individualize the conversation. Mm-hmm. But I want to agree in part with some of the assertions being made by George, and disagree in part. I agree with him on the issue of leadership. Everywhere around the world, leadership inspires change. It's not a debatable matter. At least it gives ample evidence now that we can pick up from. But even in the United States where you live, there is a glaring example that you do not even need to look for example around the world for. See the example that President Trump set. Imagine if the United States did not have a coherent system in place. What would the Trump leadership have done to, the institution in the United States? Just imagine that. Assuming the United States have had successive leaders at Trump, how would the United States look like? So you can't dance around the question of leadership. Good leadership will always inspire change. So on that point, I agree with George and with the example he's giving. Like he goes to Ghana, he pick up example. He goes to Singapore, he pick up example. He's giving good examples. I disagree with him in part when he talked about the educational system in the country. I mean, yes, there are challenges that, our educational system is confronting or dealing with, but we cannot talk down our country, because our educational system have also produced students that are competitive across the globe. And you cannot argue that. We can say, and he needs to be guided so that he doesn't speak in this broad generalization, or in this broad term that, the educational system is a catastrophe, is a disaster. No, the educational system has some challenges, and we all can agree that there are challenges. But that system has produced students who are competitive across the globe. So we cannot downplay that or talk down on that or miseducate the problem regarding our educational system. There are challenges there, but we can face those challenges. We can deal with those challenges. We can address those challenges that be deviling our educational system. So on those two issues, I just thought to join in there and to make my contribution this evening. I know it's a big conversation about our country, and every now and then, we contribute. But it's good, it's important for us to, in a way, de-individualize the conversation, but we need to speak to the issue of leadership. In our country, for example, the president appoints almost everybody, right, even down to, a mayor and down to superintendent. So the principle you cannot subtract responsibility from the president. In a way,
you, Mr. Jackson.
Again, it's good for us to de-individualize the conversation. It's good for us to look at leadership, and leadership will inspire change.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, that was Mr. Isaac Jackson. Thank you. Let's go to our comments. We have people who are making comments. Kwame Oprah Week said 2 great guests. So you guys, Honorable Akaros Gray is saying Kwame Nkrumah, I think he was making point to. Let me get Ben Sambi is on the line. Ben, quickly to the issue.
I know. I'm so grateful for participating. Let me thank George and Mr. Coney. Mr. Coney, it's good talking to you, and also George. But one of the things that I'm a little, it's a little funny because I was enjoying Mr. Coney when he was talking about the systems, when he was talking about, those things about getting away from the imperial president. But then I know often he falls back into the quadrant where he has to defend the president. It's almost like you're trying to have your cake and eating it. I don't believe, and I agree with George wholly and solely on this one, that trying to attempt bringing change from the bottom to the top is not going to work at this time in Liberia for the simple fact we have to meet our people where they are. Leaders are a reflection of the people. I'll give you a prime example. I was having a conversation the other day on another network, and I said to them, they were talking about the issue of asset declaration. I said, all of the cloud that is hanging over President Weah heads, whether it was his properties and all these different things that people talk about. Imagine if President Weah had just made his assets public. And then somebody said, well, no, that's not the law. The president followed the law. I said, imagine if he had presented a law to the national legislature to amend the current law to say, you know what, I'm going to lead by example. So I understand. And my point I'm trying to make here is falling in line with where George is. We need a leader. We need the leadership of our country. That's what needs to happen. A leader who will wake up in the morning and make the ultimate decision to say, you know what, I'm going to do things wrong. Like he said, Magafuli, far from perfect.
So Ben,
guess what?
So Ben, where do we look for this answer? Is it the current CDC government, the opposition?
Definitely not the current CDC.
Okay.
I think the current CDC was formed.
No, you already said that. So who?
Well, it definitely. Well, we're not going to March, like George said. So it's definitely going to come from the other side. And I agree with him. I will go a little further in just from the fact of just being committed. I will have to go to the point where, track record. We have to be able to figure out what's your track record. It can't be the same old. So listen, I know I'm really, really looking forward to coming on sometimes next week so that we can have but I really, really am enjoying the conversation. I just wanted to say hats off to both of the panelists and to you, Mr. Ja.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Yes. All right. We have another guest or caller coming in, but let's briefly go to our comments. Tamba said, good evening, focus on Liberia. I'm following religiously from my slum community in Monrovia. And we have another caller on the line. Call out your name and where you're calling from.
Thank you very much. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, this is Representative Carlos Gray.
Honorable Gray, welcome to Focus on Liberia. Your comment or question?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. And again, let me say thank you for the beautiful platform. And I love the objectivity, the debate that is ongoing.
Thank you.
But I listened to, I think, truly, to begin to argue that the opposition could make a better decision, like he argued about fraud. That argument is faulty for many reasons. Take, for example, the CPP hierarchical structure and those who are the faces vying for the presidency. They serve government in the Republic of Liberia. They serve some of the worst governments in the history of this country, ranging from the bloody past and coming into 12 years. And Liberia is where it is because he spoke about the issue of system. For example, Joseph Burger was vice president of the Republic of Liberia. Here were maritime boss of the Republic of Liberia, for example. We can go on and name them. And these are the true forces of the opposition community. That no matter what situation, coming, for example, working in the private sector for a very long time. How many Liberians did he have? What was his contribution to Liberia while working? What governmental experience does he bring to the table? Before we became president of the Republic of Liberia, I served the Liberian Senate for 2 solid years. There's a big difference between serving the government and working in private sector like Lizana Gomez. So if they have systems, for example, and they serve the government of the Republic of Liberia, they led meaningful institutions in our country. And up to today's date, There is no system. How can you entrust the opposition with power when they have power before? I think that argument is extremely faulty. Secondly, for you to argue that the Weah-led administration prior to election, I didn't have a national political manifesto in terms of what we do for the people is faulty. Every political institution is under obligation to provide, not just to the National Elections Commission, but the public. They publish your political manifesto. It's one of those demands. Okay, so nobody goes to election and don't tell the people what you will do. Okay, another thing, let me just say this to you. Let me just be elementary debate. White House vice president for 12 years, right on the rehab road leading to a house. There was no electricity, there was no paved road. Weah became president. You talk about agriculture, the concentration on agriculture. There is no way you can have a concrete agricultural revolution in a country like Liberia where you don't have roads. Are we contributing towards rural rehabilitation and rural construction, for example? Okay, we are doing that. There's no way we can run away from that. Okay, and we can go on. I hope we'll have the opportunity, like I have sent in a message, will come to articulate the views of national government. Take, for example, since 1847, for example, an era like that, forget about, because George Weah came from Sastan. But Sastan has not seen electricity or electricity or a street light. Okay, look at Bomi. After 12 years of existence, they've not been able to see electricity. In 3 years, we provided street lights to them. Is that not the system? Is that not the plan of action? With the rural rehabilitation, the highest number of feeder routes in the history of the country. You struck a point also. The opposition dominated the national legislature, whether you like it or not. In the House, the combined opposition, they are more than the CDC of 23 to 25 persons. In the Liberian Senate, the CDC does not have more than 4 senators. In the Liberian Senate, we elected.
All right, Dennis, can I respond to some of these things before you go forward, please? Before I forget.
Hold on, go ahead, Honorable Gray, land your thoughts.
Yeah, you talk about the issue of IQ. I want to know George knows what they call it, intelligent quotient. Hey, hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, somebody who plays soccer. Okay, do you know what George Weah IQ is? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think when you try to speak in the demeaning manner to a leader, the first time I've been a classroom teacher for 9 solid years. To play soccer, okay, just how you kick the ball in the pool, for example, that is analytical geometry. Practical geometry we're discussing here today. It's not
nothing to do with IQ.
It's refined around the world. It's not a guess. It's an insult to talent. Okay, do you know what it means to become the best player ever in the world? It's not just about talent. It's about schooling in soccer itself. It's about professional coaches, for example, and good that you brought the issue of coaches, for example, into play. It's about professional coaches trying to draw up scientific analysis of when you kick the ball in the goal point in the angles. That's high IQ. You know what is weird IQ? You do IQ measurement in the United States of America. Do you know what is IQ? Let me realistic.
Can I respond? Because you know why? Akara's note.
Thank you.
On this note.
Okay, close quickly.
Okay, I just want to say thank you very much. And I love the ongoing discussion, but there can be no argument that the Weah-led administration doesn't have a system or have not had a system when those you are in defense of have gone this country on cannibal years and they brought to the table nothing. And Liberia, as well as is, that you acquire born water became a challenge. Electricity became a challenge. Telling promised electricity in 6 months. After 12 years, even Raspberry Valley, I'm fighting for electricity in Central Monrovia today, is still in darkness. I'm going to electrify. I want to get my room, for example. So there's no debate. Those who had a system, those who were very educated, those who came with wealth of experience, okay, from past government, for example. What did they do? Those who came from the United Nations, look at Liberia. After all of these years since 1822, 1847, we got independent. Look at the Republic of Liberia.
Thank you.
The man is monopolizing the conversation. I mean,
the country, you want to give them state power back? Thank you. I'll call
please.
And I hope you can be on the program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll be glad to have you. Thank you.
Yes, talking
yeah, can you put my microphone on, please?
You are loud and clear.
Okay. Let me. Akara is not stranger to me. Yeah, so it's that nothing new. He said nothing here of substance. That's just the truth. He just he's on Rambler, so it's a constant theme of his talk. It means nothing. But let's go to substance of what
Yeah,
he let try to break down.
yeah,
Let's try to break down some of the things that he said.
two
We're
minutes.
talking about systematically developing a nation, and you are talking about, and he is placing emphasis on capital projects. Do you know why corrupt government emphasize capital projects and not investing in skills, in acquisition, in the economic advancement of the individual? Because capital projects are avenues for corruption and kickbacks. That is the reason why corrupt countries that will abandon the people into their daily lives, their daily struggles, will focus on few capital projects. Even the few capital projects that we're talking about, how substantive are they? How sustainable are they? You're talking about putting few solar panel lights in Tottenham, or even if it's generator run. What have you done? The hospital in Bombing, the CH Dewey Hospital, I think that's the name of the hospital. What is government's net investment in the upliftment or the improvement of the healthcare delivery system at CH Dewey? Before you talk about putting light, because the light, yes, is good. I'm not saying putting light street light is not a good thing, but the people in Bombing will rather appreciate a high standard healthcare delivery system more than just the light, or the combination of the both. That they will have a very good system or healthcare system that is being invested in by the government, and the street light. They will love all two.
Thank you.
But if you put them on a scale, say pick one. Which one you think you will pick? Few street lights or
Thank you.
a hospital they can go to when they are sick? But no, Dennis,
Yeah.
hold on small.
Let's move on to some of our comment. I know you made your point. Oh
All
no,
right.
he will
Can I
come
come
back.
back?
He will
I
come
gotta
back
come
to
in,
be
man.
our guest on the show. We want to bring in some of our audience now.
But I got a comment to make.
Okay, go ahead. Let's be fair to you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the brother keep repeating the same thing. Like I said, uh, this work is hard. Nobody want to do the hard work, so they want to do the quick one. They want to eat the orange right away, so they don't want to do what is hard. But look at some of the argument is being advancing. He's talking about capital projects and all of these things. You diminish the value of those projects to the people who are benefiting. You keep saying there is nothing happening in Liberia, but people are seeing electricity for the first time in their neighborhoods. People are seeing roads for the first time in their neighborhood. According to you, it's nothing. But the very opposition you speak for, they had the opportunity to do that. They did not. They did not. That's the fact. And you are saying now that the
Manasari did not.
Manaseli didn't put line in Bomi. Manaseli didn't put line in Saska.
But
Even in Monrovia.
that was not the overarching need.
In Monrovia, Madam Sally did not put light in Monrovia and its surrounding area. She did not. She did not.
But when she built the roads, it wasn't enough, right?
As she speaks today, there is no light to Baptist Seminary, so don't even go to Madam Sally. So the point is, after 12 years of failed leadership, you want the Liberian people to go back to a group of political leaders that failed them, and you think that's the solution for the country. And that would be an argument the Liberian people will have. You want Liberian people...
But they already had it. They show you in Montserrat that they rejected CDC.
Mr. Tule, let him finish so we can go to our comments.
Look, there is nothing the opposition is doing differently.
Honorable Grace, energize you, Mr. Kune.
Yeah, because you're looking about CDC people, the real CDC man spoke, he keep running me. But the point I'm making is that...
Akara's Green, I can sit on the thing. Once it's moderator, he will lose. He has nothing to present.
You will come back, Josh. Hold on, let Kune finish. Kune, you have 30 seconds now. Finish the point. I want to bring in my...
I get 30 seconds. Yes, the opposition...
Okay, 31 seconds.
Yes, you want to tell me Benina Europe, who recruited child soldiers to bring war on Liberia, is now the political person that the Liberian people should go to? The Liberian people are smarter than that. There is nothing different that this opposition is doing. You surround the police station, just like in the days of the CDC, when CDC partisan also used to go. What a different thing you're doing? Nothing. All you want is for George Weah to leave the presidency. So this your
because he's unfit.
Intelligent IQ to go there. Nobody
He is unfit.
But who fit? Who fit you?
Alex Cummings.
Where has he led?
But Joe didn't go school. Joe didn't go school. He went to school online, and people did the work for him. I know who did Joe work.
Where has been Cummings' track record? What
all right.
Cummings had no money. Cummings. What are you talking about? Cummings track record.
No money.
Okay.
I talking about manage money, and he successfully managed money for Coca-Cola.
This is why, Dennis. This is why these discussions should not go personal, because people can't.
No, I don't care if it goes, Mr. Connie. Understand something? It did not go personal until Akara's Great spoke, and then you felt the need. You felt the need to make it personal. But guess what? Listen now. Well, that's what you're doing. You're calling me opposition. Listen, I'm opposing George Weah, but I'm not supporting Bernard Ure. How can I support Bernard Ure for president in Liberia?
So who are you supporting?
Okay, hold on, Mr.
I'm looking for the best alternative to George Weah.
All right, hold on.
I rather vote for Cummings. I rather vote for Joe Bucker than George Weah. Is the truth.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to our comments. Ambassador Prince Omer now Michael say, I'm just back from Liberia and I brought a journal. I wish I can get invited on this show for perfect analysis. I mean, I asked the question, where do we turn? Where we turn, right? So let's move. We can come to, if we want to do the personality thing, who should be the one? And I'm surprised none of you even call my name.
Okay, I call you as Dennis. Yeah, because we're looking at the bigger picture, Mr. Coney. We're not looking. I'm not reducing the thing to individual, because you know what? Listen, people will say when Madam Sadi talk the government. No, listen. When I criticize those in power. That's my thing. I go after you when you're not doing what you're supposed to do for Liberian people. I will go after you.
Let me read my comments. Let me read my comments and then you can react.
Okay, go ahead.
It is good that the two of you are in different locations, else you guys are going to fight.
No, not really. That's my people, yeah. But I'll just tell you the truth.
Say, what have you done in your district? I don't know who's the who, but I guess it's
I know he's not me asking though. Because I have a look at this.
You say you're a hater.
Yeah, that's their reliance now. Whenever you try to hold them, they will say, "Oh, you're a hater." Hate who? For what?
My man.
George Weah.
My man.
Okay.
George Weah is not doing his work. He's not doing what he should be doing for Liberia. It's just the truth about it. He got McGee and the other man over there, they're just messing things up. So
why? That's the personal opinion. If you're not bringing no policy,
Who not bringing policy? Me? How many minutes we have to talk about policy?
All right, we have 2 minutes to close. Liberians don't espouse for a change of regime for haphazard, risky corruption, fuel, and unstable waste of national funds in the name of development.
Exactly.
What, you agree with the guy?
But we will not change president for the sake of changing president. Because
well, he already lost in Montserrat County twice to Dara Dillon. You think he will lose the national election? What? I said he rigs it. You know that Akara's greater went to him to go to rig that election.
Let me make this point. That's the Trumpian statement you're making.
One Trumpian statement.
Except they rig it. That's a Trumpian statement.
But it's true. It's true.
What do you mean it's true?
Until Dillon, CDC has never lost an election in or county-wide election in Montserrat County.
All right.
Until Dillon.
Okay.
Hold on, Mr. Quinn. Listen,
we are leaving.
I respect you, big brother.
Yeah, we are leaving the topic, Mister. We are leaving the topic. I don't want us to leave the topic. Let me bring in my last caller, and then we can conclude on this. Caller, you are live. Your name and where you calling from?
Thank you. Again, this is Jackson Isaac.
Isaac Jackson, is you again.
Hello?
Yeah, this time you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, my 1 minute, all that I want to say during the course of this 1 minute is to caution all of us I mean, you were having a very productive conversation. Now, because you introduce individual in the conversation, it seems to me that the conversation is being derailed. You are now leaving the topic. The conversation I thought I overheard was about leadership. I mean, we can talk about leadership in a broader context. You can take a different day to critique the CDC government. But we're talking leadership. I wanted us to de-individualize, and I want to emphasize the word de-individualize. Leadership all around the world play a pivotal role when it comes to changes in countries all across the globe, and that's what I say. I want you guys to stay with the topic because when you start attaching people's needs and faces to the conversation, it gets a bit emotional and it gets off track. So I want us to come back and talk about leadership, talk about some of the challenges confronting the country. How can we navigate ourselves? How can we, get a better Liberia? So we can have those conversations without attaching names. We can have the conversation looking at a bigger picture. You see, but when you introduce name and there's name calling now, because for example, if you're talking the presidency, the imperial nature of the presidency, it can be void or devoid of the career. Liberian presidency, the presidency of Liberia will appoint down to even sweeper. I mean, this is a major challenge in the country. It doesn't have to do with we are. That is the context in which I want us to have this conversation. You can take a separate day to do a critique of the CDC. And that one you can bring maybe Mr. Gray on, he would defend the CDC. You can bring anybody from the CDC to defend the CDC. But I thought you were keeping a broader conversation, reflecting on the country, the challenges that we're dealing with now, and how do we advance our country. If we keep in that kind of conversation, we need to tap the name.
Mr. Jackson. Kwame Opa, we say Jackson is right. The moderator erred. He said, so I take the blame. Let's go back to basis. Let's go back to basis and deal with the issue. We started with a topic, and I want us to conclude on the topic tonight. We have 10 more minutes to. We have 10 minutes above the time that was allotted to the show. So let's go back to the topic and conclude on this. Our topic for the night, we've been discussing the ruling party, the CDC-led government, that is, the opposition, or somewhere else. Where do we look? So we look at the political landscape, we study it, and we say, hey, here are the issues. Where do we look for solutions? Let's conclude on that.
All right, I'll go first.
Sure.
All right. I said that I, as an individual, if I had the opportunity right now, I would discard the city's leadership. And the reason I listed previously, one of the cardinal among my reasons is that they are unfit for office. Because the thing about it, they don't have an overarching view. They are myopic. They only look to see how it's basically self-aggrandizement. Is because the cardinal reason why a government function is to improve the material well-being of the people. And I can say that the CDC government have been found wanting in that view. The material well-being of the people. And it's not just the signing of capital projects. Like I said, capital projects are important because infrastructure is very, very important. But in a nation where poverty, healthcare is lacking, because what will improve the living standard of the people, that will deal with maternal mortality rates, the high maternal mortality rates, the high child mortality rate, okay, from age 1 to 5. What will change our nation in terms of the quality of education? Borja talked about, he said I should not denigrate. I'm not denigrating. The truth is, you remember the time where the majority of the students, the overwhelming majority of the students who took the matriculation exam into the University of Liberia all failed. Okay, that was an indictment on our education system, and it has progressively worsened over the time. Okay, since the war, it has progressively worsened. Yes, our education system produced good people. Okay, many of us are product of the Liberian education system more than anywhere else. But the truth is, the system it optimizes everything that is Liberian. Everything is going downwards and downhill and downhill. So when you ask me, what can we do? I established this fact: we need to demand better. When the people rise up in their mentality and in their understanding and say we will elect leaders, but we will demand better from their leaders. Okay, our leaders will wake up. But you know what happens in Liberia? We elect leaders, then we go home. Okay, we stop engaging with them. Now, somebody raised the problem. I think it was Honorable Gray said the present leader served 2 years in the Senate. It's not just about sitting in the Senate for 2 years. It's not only about him, but any other senator. The senators are there to represent the people, to make sure that laws that are passed are foremost in the interest of the common man walking down the road. Not only for themselves, not in the car they drive or the allowances they get. That's not the main reason why they are there. But many of them think that's the reason why they are there. So our healthcare system is failing. The senators do not call in healthcare professionals to have a sit down to find out what can they propose to ensure that our healthcare system is good. So when you ask me, I will say this to you, or to anybody who will listen. We need to demand more, and we need to start educating our people to demand more from leaders. Do not elect leaders and then you go home. And then when everything gets messed up, then you go and burn houses. That's not the way to do it. You engage, you remain engaged with the system. Keep demanding, strengthen civil service institutions, civil service institutions, so that they can be used to harness the collective will of the people to put pressure on governments to do right. But I gave you a common example with the present leadership, the present government. They have stripped the civil service of their responsibility or their strengths.
Thank you.
You cannot develop without an independent civil service dialogue. So when you ask me, remove CDC, but before you elect anybody, that person should have a vision for what they want to do for Liberia. The people need to hold that person accountable when the person gets into office.
Thank you. Mr. Kune, your closing comments.
Well, I hope you will give me the same fair amount of time. But like I indicated, I think the Liberian people will go towards the CDC. Since the CDC came to power, they have been doing their best to improve the lives of the Liberian people within the confines of resources available to them. Anybody can call the projects that this government has implemented whatever name they feel like. But like another caller said, maybe sometimes you will meet the people to where they are. Someone who has not seen current in their entire generation, if they see current for the first time, you cannot dismiss it as a mere capital or political project. And these are the things that are going on. There are Liberian communities that are seeing electricity for the first time. There are Liberian communities that are seeing pipe-borne water for the first time since the war. There are Liberian communities that are seeing the construction of local housings in their communities, in their counties. Before, government constructed houses were only based in Monrovia, but now you find government constructed houses going throughout the country. So these are projects that this government is implementing. And if you compare that to, again, like I said, a group of politicians that were in a failed government for 12 years that didn't do any of these things, I think it would be very clear where the Liberian people would go. But the broader point I've always made is that the change that we desire comes from the bottom. It don't come from the top. And I've shown the evidence here. We got multi-party democracy not from the top, but from the bottom. But apparently, most people have considered the struggle to get change from the bottom, since they look long and protracted, opposition just want power. And so in their march, dash for power, they don't care about correcting the structures that produce the leaders that they complain about. The danger for that is, without the fundamental structures of our society being fixed, electing other leaders, you are telling the Liberian people 2 years down the road to mobilize them again to go change that leader, because I hear somebody who has the wisdom, who has the education. We've had all those people before, and the country remain where it is. Liberia had all the bright stars before. The country remain where it is. I fall back on my most fundamental advocacy point. We need to decentralize power in our country. We need to develop self-government at the level of the counties so that people can take developmental decisions. This is how we will break down the imperial presidency Not the imperial president. We are having the imperial presidency that has existed over our time. Until we can do that, we'll be in this circle all of the time. After every new leadership, new revolution, new so-called revolutionary will come to say we must change government. Final statement, I've seen people use the removal of president to change condition in our country. That has not worked. We've changed president over 5 times in my lifetime. And the basic issue of Liberia still remains.
All he's trying to do is to defend
nobody
George
will
Weah.
fool me again to say the only thing we need to do is to change a president, and all of the sudden manna will flow from heaven.
Thank you, Mr. Kone. Thank you, gentlemen. This is Tough Talking Thursday, and I believe you guys have tough stuff, but I don't think it was tough enough. So step it up the next time we talk. Just don't interrupt. You can be tough without being disruptive. So thank you so much. I want to thank all our viewers. We're going to be back here next Thursday for another round of Tough Talking Thursday. Nobody told me anything was Tabata. I don't know why. But keep that. We're going to come back Thursday. And if it is Tabata,
everything is Tabata.
The opposition wanting to. The opposition.
And it's not just about George Weah being president. You're just trying to buttress George Weah. Right. George Weah already lost it.
So hold on. You finish making your last point. Tomorrow we're going to have our literary hour with Dr. K. Moses Nawe and Jackie Sayer, and the topic creating a literary culture.
Okay.
Come back. You will see Josh again. This time on point, debating the issue with the unabashed sedition, Mr. Jerome Gilman. You don't want to miss On Point. It's going to get even tougher and heated up. You don't want to miss it. Keep your dial set and focus on Liberia, where we educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. April 12th is coming around, and we're going to have a discussion on April 12, 1980 in retrospect. You don't want to miss that. This is it only happens here on Focus on Liberia. I want to thank all of you for coming. This is what we do here at Focus on Liberia. And we don't close the broadcast without playing our song that says, we are all Liberian. Whether you believe we can look to the CDC for answers, or the opposition for answers, or other options, we are still Liberians, and that song is going to take us home tonight. Good night, and God bless you.
We are Liberians.